Hi, welcome back to our kitchen. Today I want to do a braised beef brisket. It's going to be a barbecue style. I'm not going to smoke it. I think there's enough smoking flavor in the barbecue sauce and the end product is going to be really good. We're going to slow cook this brisket, and the slower the better. I've cooked brisket before at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for 16 hours. Today we're going to do it a little higher because we have less time to work with at 250 degrees, and it's going to be in the oven for 6 to 8 hours. The lower the temperature, the better it's going to be in regards to volume. If you've cooked brisket and stew products before, beef short ribs, the higher the temperature and the faster you cook it, the more shrinkage you're going to get in the meat, and it will be smaller in volume when it's finished. So we're going to do it slower temperature, a longer period of time, and maintain that volume of the brisket. Now what I want to show you is the grain of the meat. So the lines in the meat of the brisket, they run lengthways and you can see it. What we're going to do is cut it in half, because when you're carving any meat, you want to be carving across the grain for the finished product, and that's when it will be the most tender. If you carve with the grain, it's going to be really tough. So I just wanted to make note of that. So what we're going to start with is we are going to season to salt and pepper our brisket nice and liberally. Fresh black pepper, and nice seasoning. We're going to sear this first in our skillet, cast iron skillet, and then we're going to add it to our braising container and finish it in the oven. We'll do both sides of the seasoning, and it's great to be quite liberal with this. So I'm just going to cut it in half. Most of the time the silver skin will be still on this, but this has been cleaned quite well and there's not a lot of silver skin on it, which you would normally remove first. And then we're going to sear it in our pan. Later we will, done browning the meat, we will add our garlic, onions, carrot, beef stock, barbecue sauce, and dried rosemary. We're using a beef stock that we've actually made in our crock pot, our steam cooker, and it's from beef short ribs. It's really tasty, and then we're just going to top up with a store-bought beef broth. So we have our cast iron skillet, and it's been preheating. It's going to be pretty warm. I just turned it up a little because when we add our beef, it's going to lose that heat. We're going to brown our beef in here. Just sealing it to sear in all that moisture. Give it some nice color. And you want to turn it and get the ends too. So the ends are not seared, so you just stand her up in there. You're searing and locking in all the juice into the meat. We're going to place it inside our braising pot. Now we're done with both those pieces, they're in our pot. Just adding a little bit more avocado oil that we use. And we're going to saute our onions. These are just the vegetables, the onions and the carrots that are going in with the braised beef for extra flavor. With the equivalent of 3 cloves, large cloves of garlic sliced. our dried rosemary. I'm just going to stir these in. And again, just to get all the flavor out of the pan that we've been searing our beef in as well. Now we're going to add our beef stock that we have and deglaze that pan with and heat up the stock that we're going to add to our brisket that it's going to get braised in. We're adding a cup of barbecue sauce to our beef stock. And that's going to give us our barbecue flavor that we want. I'm just going to stir that around evenly. When this beef stock comes to heat, we're going to add it to our braising pot. And we'll place that in the oven with the lid on it. And that's going to stay in there on 250 Fahrenheit for the next 6 to 8 hours. Our beef stock has come to heat now, which is what we're looking for. We're just going to add that to our brisket in the braising container. So we have a nice amount of beef barbecue stock in with our brisket now. We just left it an inch below the top. And we're going to place our lid on. And we're just going to throw that in the oven now, middle shelf, 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a low enough heat where it's not going to boil over. It'll be in there for 6 to 8 hours. The brisket's been in the oven for 6.5 hours now. And I wish I had smell cam, because you'll just have to trust me on this. It smells phenomenal. So what I want to do now is take the brisket out, and I'm going to remove the sauce that it's been braising in all this time. Whoop, it's tender. It's falling apart. And I want to put the gravy into a pot. We're going to reduce that because we want to maximize the flavor of the sauce. Later I'm going to serve it with some mashed potatoes and asparagus. But I'm going to put the brisket just back in this pot with a little liquid and hold it in the oven. Just on warm on 200 while we reduce the sauce. And it's just going to hold in there and relax and rest. And you saw it falling apart, so it's already tender. We'll put that sauce on to reduce and we'll show you what that's going to look like later. The brisket's been in the oven. I've sauteed a little bit of asparagus and made some mashed potato to go with it. We've reduced our sauce and it's reduced really nice. It's still got all the carrots, onions, garlic and fresh rosemary in it. And it's just a really rich, beautiful consistency now. And it's going to be our sauce for the brisket. Our asparagus is done. So we're just going to present this. Our nice creamy mashed potatoes. Some of our asparagus we just finished. As you saw before, the brisket was falling to pieces. Now it's had time to rest. You can really see that it's starting to break apart. I mean, it will just fall to pieces now. What's great about this, if you don't want to serve it like this, you can take a fork, shred it up, mix it with the sauce and have this fantastic barbecue brisket roll, anything like that. You can just cut it in half with the grain, and then we're going to slice it across the grain like we said. It's really tender. I'm going to use a couple of different joints of the cut, some of the thicker ends as well that we had here. Like I said, our reduced sauce, braising liquid. We'll add all the vegetable to that and make it look beautiful. What I really like is fresh chopped parsley with rich beef dishes. I just love the flavor of that fresh chopped parsley on there. A little sprig to finish. But that's it. Braised beef brisket. It's something you can leave in the oven all day, go out, fish, enjoy yourself, come back and have it for dinner later.